Back with us on the SportsMax Zone, football time now. Let's look at some of the big transfers made in this summer window ahead of its closure on October 5. This is what we have already. James swaps Real Madrid for Everton, 25 million euros. Jamal Lewis from Norwich, good player, to Newcastle, 16.5 million. Abdoulaye Doucouré, defensive midfielder from Watford to Everton, 22.1 million. Callum Wilson has Jamaican roots, but he's played for England already, so the Reggae Boys can't forget it, from Bournemouth to Newcastle. Fabio De Silva, one half of the De Silva, well, Fabio Silva, beg your pardon, not Fabio De Silva, from Porto to Wolves. He is a youngster, highly thought of in Portugal, and the Wolves connection with the agent Jorge Mendes continues to bring top Portuguese talent to Molineux, and he will take his place in the Wolves team next season. Grady Diangana from West Ham to West Brom. This is a transfer that has upset the West Ham players. The captain posted on Twitter that he was angered and disgusted by the fact that the club sold this youngster, Grady Diangana, to West Brom because they saw him as the future of the club. Alan, the Brazilian, who wears his shorts pulled up all the way under his armpits, looks very odd on the TV. He moves from Napoli to Everton to reunite with his former Napoli coach, Carlo Ancelotti. Timothy Castagne from Atalanta to Leicester in England. Kai Havertz, the outstanding young player, moves from Bayer Leverkusen to Chelsea. Donny van der Beek had his first training session with Manchester United today after the switch from Ajax. Gabriel Magalhaes from Lille to Arsenal, the Brazilian. Matt Doherty swaps Wolves for Tottenham. That's a transfer that Jose Mourinho wanted done quickly. Rodrigo, he moves from Valencia in La Liga to Leeds United to take orders from Marcelo Bielsa. Thiago Silva, free transfer, PSG to Chelsea. Ben Chilwell, injured now, but he'll play for Chelsea, swapping Leicester City. Aaron Ramsdale moves from Bournemouth. They were relegated, remember, so he goes to Sheffield United. He's a goalkeeper, quite good. Willian moved between London clubs. Nathan Ake, big money signing by Manchester City from Bournemouth early. Ferran Torres, a young winger who's expected to replace Leroy Sané at Man City. He moves from Valencia. Hakim Ziyech, the Ajax schemer who got injured in his first preseason game for Chelsea. He should be okay, though, by the time they get underway in the Premier League. Janik Carrasco, a nomadic career, but he is at Atletico Madrid from Dalian Professional in the Chinese Super League. Ivan Rakitic, back to where Barcelona took him from. So he's left Barcelona to go back to Sevilla. Miralem Pjanic, we knew with this transfer even before the season was done that he was going to Barcelona from Juventus. Claudio Bravo, the Man City goalkeeper, tired of sitting on the bench, he goes to Real Betis. Oscar Rodriguez leaves Real Madrid to go to Sevilla. Trincao swaps Braga in the Portuguese top league to go to Barcelona. Suso, Milan, remember him, he played for Liverpool as a youngster. Excelled for Milan and played well last year. And he goes to Sevilla. Well, they're formalizing that a transfer for Suso. He actually played for Sevilla in the Europa League against Manchester United. He was on loan, so the sale is complete. So he's no longer on loan at Sevilla. He's now a bona fide Sevilla player from Milan. Marc Cucurella swaps Barcelona for Getafe. And Alexei Miranchuk moves from the Russian league, Lokomotiv Moscow, to Atalanta. They're not done. Stefano Sensi from Sassuolo to Inter Milan. Arthur, the Brazilian, moves from Barcelona to Juventus. Felix Correa from Man City to Juventus. Mario Pasalic from Chelsea to Atalanta. Inter Milan signing two players, Barella and Ashraf Hakimi, one from Real Madrid, one from Cagliari. Victor Osimhen, the Nigerian, from Lille to Napoli. Alexis Sanchez, he has a glass ankle, they say. He's left Manchester United, formalized his transfer to Inter Milan on a free transfer, and Jordan Veretout from Fiorentina to Roma. We're not done. Patrick Schick from Roma to Bayer Leverkusen. They say he'll replace Kai Havertz. Not sure about that. He's not the same kind of player. Jude Bellingham, one of the best young players in England. He's 16 years old. He left Birmingham for Borussia Dortmund despite the overtures of Manchester United. He got a tour of Old Trafford. He spoke with the club legends. Sir Alex Ferguson met with him, and then he chose Borussia Dortmund. Leroy Sané gets his dream move from Man City to Bayern Munich. He goes home. Nianzou from PSG to Bayern. And Thomas Meunier, the Belgian right back who plays like a marauding winger, has left France and has gone to Germany on a free transfer. So a lot of them have gone through. Well, some top flight club football does return to England and Spain this weekend, mere weeks after the end of the previous campaigns. Ligue 1 in France is already up and running, while the Serie A is set to begin on September 19. Now, Chelsea, and I'm not hating, are the undisputed kings of the transfer window to date, having bought an almost brand new 11 for their assault on the EPL title. There are still some top players available though, and the rest of the big boys in the EPL and La Liga are looking to beef up their squads and Serie A to meet the challenge ahead. Luis Suarez is out at Barcelona. They don't want him there. Juventus is his likely destination. Jadon Sancho is coveted by Man United fans who are frustrated that club bosses have yet to do a deal, while Gareth Bale has finally been placed in the shop window by Real Madrid. And Gini Wijnaldum, it always catches me, is the only Dutchman whose W in the name is not pronounced as a V. Wijnaldum, keen, we hear, to swap Liverpool for Barcelona. So we've said all of that. Joining us to discuss these potential moves, former TNT international Brent Sancho. Brent, we've gone through a host of names, yeah? Let me ask you about the defending Premier League champions, Liverpool. They took a left back from Olympiacos as cover for John Robertson. They haven't done any other business. They may lose Wijnaldum. What do you make of Klopp's strategy, keeping his powder so dry, so far into the transfer window? Is it that you're reading the German to say Liverpool need no reinforcements, or do you expect reinforcements to come?
Well, let me first say that what you just described in terms of transfers that have been made so far is heavily affected, of course, by the pandemic and, of course, clubs feeling the financial effects of it. And many clubs in around the world is just doing a balancing act, trying to balance their books, of course, with the fair play, financial fair play, of course, on their mind. That being said, as it relates to Liverpool, I just think they don't have the funds. It's not that Jurgen Klopp is not interested. Of course, we've seen his pursuit of Timo Werner, who eventually went to Chelsea. So it's not a situation necessarily about finances. Of course, Jurgen Klopp would play it down, but it is a situation of finances, and Jurgen Klopp has played it down. He does want players. He would like to strengthen the squad, but I just think that the money's not there, and that's not just the case for Jurgen Klopp, but I think for many of the other managers.
Brent, Chelsea has so many new signings, and the way George described it in the build-up was a proper description. Do you think chemistry will be an issue when they get ready for the Premier League starting Saturday?
I think chemistry will be an issue, but for me, Mariah, I'm more concerned with the manager. I think Frank Lampard is still a very young manager in football, and he's been given a task that I'm not sure that he can complete. As much as he might be highly touted, he's still very, very inexperienced. And as George would have rightfully mentioned, they've brought in a host of players that would suggest that they should be challenging, at least closing the gap, challenging to close the gap between Man City and Liverpool. But I just feel that his inexperience as a manager may just be the reason why they're not able to close the gap. I think they will have a good season because they do have talented players, but the expectation that the club may have for him, I just feel he may just fall short.
Barcelona, they seem to be signing a lot of forwards, but what they need is defenders. So what's happening there?
I think Barcelona is trying to balance the books as well. And I think that is where their struggle lies. They've made some horrendous decisions in the transfer market, something that a lot of people don't like to talk about. You talk about Griezmann, you talk about Dembele, Coutinho, 3 consecutive transfer windows where it just has not, of course, bringing the dividends for Barcelona. So now it's really about them, of course, trying to cut costs and make sure that they can balance the book. Of course, when you look at the move they made with Juventus, with Pjanic going one way and Arthur, who is easily looked at as possibly one of the potential best best midfielders in football, it shows you that Barcelona is definitely on the side of balancing books.
Brent, there was a lot of talk because of the COVID-19 pandemic that the transfer window would have been, hampered by this pandemic. We've seen a lot of action happening, and for my money, looking at the long list that we just went through, some pretty exciting players landing in England to beef up the EPL, which is already considered by attractiveness the best league in the world, even though there are question marks about whether they are the best in the true sense, but it's certainly the most attractive and most popular.
Yeah, we've seen a lot of a transfer come in, but when you look at the figures, of course, it's nowhere near what we would have seen seasons before in the Premiership. And again, as you rightfully mentioned, a lot of it's due to pandemic. If you take Chelsea out of the equation, a team, of course, that wasn't a transfer ban and would have had, of course, funds saved up for this particular transfer window, it really hasn't been a lot of big money moves per se coming into the league. There are some interesting ones. Of course, James Rodriguez and Allen to Everton is one that interests a lot of the neutralists of the Premier League. But outside of that, nothing really to write home about as it relates. There's still a lot of conversation about some players to come in. Of course, Jadon Sancho to Manchester United, Koulibaly to Manchester City possibly, and those types of signing. But I think those types of deals would be hard to come by, as I said, because of the financial implications of COVID.
Yeah. Can I challenge you a bit, though, on one of the things you had mentioned earlier on about Chelsea and Frank Lampard being a pretty inexperienced coach at that level? We know he got his feet wet with Derby County before moving to a club where he had, an iconic status as a player. But wouldn't it be fair to say that because of the influx of high-quality players in the Chelsea setup, that his job now becomes easier and there is a chance that he could have a lot of success?
Look, I think the problem that he would have is keeping a talented bunch like that happy, and that comes with man management skills, and man management skills comes, or player management skill comes with experience. And I feel that he would have some issues, of course, trying to keep a lot of those players happy. A lot of, of course, he does have a very good young squad that he used throughout the season, last season, and now he's brought in all these experienced players. So I think in all, he is going to have it difficult, and experience normally would guide you through situations like that, and I think that's where he falls short.
Yeah, finally, Brent, there's a player that I'm alarmed that there isn't much more transfer interest in him, and I guess it goes back to the first point you made about the crimp that COVID-19 has placed on finances. People want to spend, but the ability to pay is another thing. They don't have the ability to pay, so they're keeping their powder dry. Raul Jimenez at Wolves, I think, is an outstanding forward. If ever there was a striker built for the English Premier League, he is that striker. And we've seen what he has done for Wolves in the time that he has been there. First season on loan, last season as a fully Wolves player. His relationship with Traore, how dangerous he is with those crosses from the wings. And I'm thinking of a side like Liverpool, who wants a player of that caliber in their setup. And Firmino, hot and cold, and looks as if his best maybe has left him already. I'm surprised that we haven't heard anybody say Raul Jimenez is a likely target for any of the big boys in England or elsewhere.
Yeah, I think he was a target for, of course, he was a target for Juventus early in the transfer market, and of course, like Juventus ended up with Suarez instead, a lower budget version of Jimenez. But yeah, you're right. And I think a lot of it has to do with value and it's cost and money. It's a money scenario. They have not been able to, of course, meet the demands I think Wolves would have placed on him. I think he had, as you rightfully said, he had an outstanding season with Wolves. And if we are to argue here, I think he was, to me, probably the best striker in the EPL last year. I think his performances, his goals, the type of goals he scored, the link-up play, and you don't have a lot of real quality big strikers, meaning in case of size, hold-up type play strikers. One comes to mind in world football, of course, is Lewandowski, but outside of Lewandowski, there's no one really in that fit or that mold, and you're right, Jimenez should have gone somewhere in the market, but again, as we've seen throughout the market, I think the effects of the pandemic has played havoc as it relates to the spending of some of the teams. But it's still very early, and we must say this as well, guys, because, of course, with the new transfer window, of course, closing in October, it's still a lot of time for things to happen. So it'll be an interesting couple of weeks to come to see if clubs somehow dig out the finances and pay the big bucks for the big players.
Yeah, a big striker like Raul Jimenez, and he is very fast on the ground as well. He seems to have everything. Thank you very much, Brent. All the best to you, and we'll catch up.
Thanks, guys. Take care.
Good. Brent Sanchez there talking to us about transfer activity, what clubs have done, what clubs need to do And as we build up, don't forget, La Liga lives right here on the home of champions, and you'll be able to see Lionel Messi. I'm going to challenge the viewers, please don't miss any Barcelona games. And Ransford Ricketts, our programs manager, will ensure that you have Barcelona almost every week, if not every week, because this may be Lionel Messi's farewell tour as a Barcelona player in La Liga. Yeah, and you wouldn't want to miss a single game. I know I won't miss it. I'll watch it wherever I can, and most of those games will be on SportsMax, your home of champions, and of course, the SportsMax app. All right, Messi's farewell tour, we'll have every game live. Am I putting you under pressure, Ransford? Yes, I am. September 11, Messi is going to be here. Yeah, see him while you can.